My name is Miguel Mendoza. I started with Atmel in November. We actually were a startup and we got acquired by Atmel late last November. And I've been with Emsilica for about a year and a half. And the marketing. So most of my focus is distribution, US and Europe. So I'm going to be presenting to you our LED drivers. Within our family, we have actually three product families. We have the internal power supply with internal current sinks. We also have external power supply with internal sinks. And we have an external LED supply devices that use external MOSFETs to sync the LED current. Predominantly, the first product family addresses the notebooks and industrial panels, and this is what's large in the US, and we'll talk a little bit more of that in more detail. The ones that you have the internal sinks but use an external supply typically are used in direct TV and larger monitors. And the devices that use the external power supply as well as the external MOSFETs are typically used in edge light television as well as solid state lighting or general lighting. Our product family portfolio for this first one is just a small family, but we're growing that family. Now that we're part of Atmel, we have a large distribution channel so we can take advantage of the smaller tier customers. So we're going to grow this product a little more. Our main focus has been television, so we have a lot of devices that are directly market into the direct backlight as well as the edge light television, and now we're moving into solid state lighting. A lot of the technology here is being moved into the solid state lighting, but we're moving into creating new products that are actually specifically for solid state lighting. So to start, we're going to start with some of the industrial solutions. Obviously, industrial solutions means a breadth of markets, actually. We have military, medical, industrial notebooks, point-of-sale machines, instrumentation, avionics, automotive, and even home infotainment. I've seen a lot of applications that use the panel, kind of like a big iPhone or a big iTouch, and those have a panel, and they'll require some backlighting, and then we usually address that. The device that I'm kind of showcasing is the MSL 1060 family. This device has an internal power supply, so we have the internal switch as well as the controller. We also have the internal sinks. These guys actually, hold on, let me get a little bit ahead. I got a little ahead of myself. So this device has a wide range, so you can use it at 5-volt supplies, 12-volt supplies, 24-volt supplies. Those are the typical power rails that we usually interface with this device. Like I said, it does have the integrated power supply, and the strings, they can be used 2, 4, or 5, or 6 strings. And I'll show you some examples of applications. These can sync up to 30 milliamps each. It's a very small offering. It's a 5x5 package. So it gives you the ability to control the dimming by analog control or by program, or you can set the max current of the LEDs by a simple resistor. You can also use an external PWM for dimming, or if you have an I2C using a microcontroller, you can use the I2C for the 6164 family. And then with that, you can use the internal PWM engine that's integrated in the device to do the dimming. And you can also have fault monitoring for open circuit as well as short circuit. And you can control the strings, enable strings, and so on. Typical applications that I've been selling to in the US, these are the industrial panels. And you can see the same device used in many applications. To start, it's simply by setting the resistor sets the max current, and all the unused channels get grounded. For the most part, the design is very simple. And this interfaces with, in this particular case, it's an NEC LCD panel that's LED backlit. And then below the screen, you have another similar example. It's just a 4-channel versus a 2-channel. Same power levels, 25 milliamps. The voltage is actually set automatically. So you don't have to worry about compensation. It has digital compensation inside, so it's a very simple design. So when you're lighting up a backlight of a LCD panel, this is a very simple device to use. It's usually a plug and play. Another example is a 6.5 LCD panel. This one uses actually all 6 strings as well, but they have 2 different power current requirements. Simply by changing the resistor affects the max current. And the last example that I have is the 10.4, which is actually very popular panels for industrial. This device can just with 5 strings can power up the top one, and then the bottom one with just 2 strings. And then one example here is if you're using the channels in parallel, you can double up the current. So technically you can get 60, 60, 60 times 3 if you have a different device. So it's very easy to configure. You don't have to worry about the voltage. The voltage automatically adapts. And you can see, like we talked about, we control the dimming either by analog, PWM, or use the internal PWM engines. So our strategy has been that we've been promoting these, what we call these prototype slash production boards. They're about the size almost by an inch to almost 2 inches. They're very small. You can see the reference there. These are turnkey solutions. That means we can sell this to you, or you can give you the design, and then you can actually take our design and port it into your design. It's a very effective way that you can try it, decide which panel you want to use. Obviously, this drives multiple panels. You can program this device. This is like a development kit. Our production are programmed in the factory for that particular panel. In this case, you can do all the additional changes if you want to do prototyping. And then if you decide you want to, on the panel that you want to use moving forward for high volume, and you want to reduce your BOM costs, you can take our design and port it into your design, and all you'll be buying is our LED driver. So that's what we're moving forward to increase our business in the US. So this is just another graphical representation, kind of what you're normally seeing. Typically, you buy a panel from NEC, Toshiba, Optrix, Sharp, Shimei, AUO, PrimeView, and then you need a solution. So we have two different devices. This device is the most programmable, but it does require, that you have pre-programmed the EEPROM through either a simple controller board. And this is the most simple device, which is the MSL 9061, which I was showing you before, that offers these current ratings. So it's a little bit more limited, but it's a lot more simple to use. But this device handles most of the panels below 10.5 inch to below, where this device can do most. It can do up to 22 inches all the way down to 4 inches. It has the most programmability, but it's a little bit more difficult to use because it does require that if you want to program the EEPROM to have an I2C interface, to program the EEPROM. But we are making a standard to address the panels. So moving forward, I'm going to have different flavors of the top one that address specific panels. And that way you don't have to worry about that, and this will be a better solution moving forward since it does address a larger bandwidth of currents. So we do have reference designs with NEC. If you go to SID this year, you'll see a lot of our demos still there. We're still carrying the Ensilica logo. Unfortunately, they got bought by Renesas and we got bought by Atmel. So there is a conflict of interest using the newer names, but they're using NEC and we're using Ensilica. So you'll see our devices on their panels. So it'll be a good, if you do get that opportunity, make sure you look at that. About 22 of their panels that they're going to have are going to be driven by this guy. Now the color is green because I dropped 50 of these units there. So, but you'll see this same device driving their panels. We also are building, we have reference designs, and we're building more relationships with Sharp as well as Optrix. And I'm working on getting the other guys as well. Since our solution is programmable, it's the same design. You just configure the EEPROM and you can drive, like I said, the 90% of the LCD panels are LED backlit. So I'm just going to touch briefly on the television stuff. Obviously, this is not necessarily the forum for that, but our main focus was to address the television markets. We addressed both the edge light as well as the direct backlight. In this example, I kind of given the three most popular edge light and the products that are associated with each type of topology. For direct backlight, obviously, that's where we put a lot of effort of our design because we've actually designed devices that do RGB direct backlight as well as white LED backlight. But I won't go into too much detail. The only thing I want to bring out that I'm going to talk some of the feature sets that are in our devices that are moving forward, especially for solid state lighting. So the MSL 3162 is one of our earlier products, is the most mature product that we have outside the 1060 family. This device has what we call an efficiency optimizer, and I'll speak a little bit more briefly about that. So what the idea is that we actually be able to we control 3 supplies. In the RGB setting, you're normally going to use one supply for each LED because they have different forward voltages. So in this particular case, I'll explain a little bit the benefits of the EO. In this device, we can drive up to 16 strings per IC, and that's 10 LEDs per string, so 160 LEDs which each solution. These devices can drive up to 100 milliamps per string. And the strings are assignable, and I'll explain that a little bit when we talk a little bit about the GUI. And through the I2C, you can use the internal PWM control, you can control the peak current, you can do fault management, you can change the phase of the strings to reduce your RMS, power consumption, as well as noise. And it's also scalable up to 16 ICs per micro. So it does have 16 addresses. So this has typically been used in a direct backlight RGB application. Obviously the volume hasn't been there for us to really show, but we're starting to see this technology being ported into solid state lighting because people want to control the color temperature. and they want to, so that this gives them the ability. So this is our what we call a graphical user interface for our devices. So this is a good representation of all the features and all the controls that are available to you. For example, you can control which strings are enabled or disabled. You can select which strings you're going to configure. So you have 16 strings. So you got to you pick one and you can configure each one individually. So this one selects this area selects which power supply. So for example, you can assign a string to a red L supply. You can and then you can take the next string, assign it to a blue supply, and so you can differentiate between supplies per string. Each string has a DAC to control the current. So you can control the peak current, so you can actually do white point mixing and color mixing by controlling the amplitude of the string current. And as you can also dim by using PWM, using the internal PWM, and you can also delay when the LED turns on. So all these are available through the I2C. And you can also do global intensity, like if you really want to simplify the lighting that's coming at you. So the other thing is the efficiency optimizer. So once again, this is just an example. All this, for the example that I showed earlier, all the strings have been assigned to blue, but technically I could assign 2 strings to blue, 4 to green, and the remaining to red, or however you want it. So it's very easy to control. You just assign a register, and then that string is tied to a certain supply. So that just shows you all the strings are assigned. In this case, everything's blue. And then in this one, you actually see the current that's being feedback into the voltage divider for the actual feedback for the supply. And that's how we control the supply. And then down at the lower level, you actually control the actual parameters. And I won't go into too much detail because I'm running out of time about how you control parameters. But the idea is you can control a supply. And this is an example of a supply that was set to 39.3 volts. Typically, you have some headroom. And our device is able to drop the voltage to where it's appropriate, where it can actually find a sync error and then step it up as you program it, how many steps, 3, 2, or 4, and then it can set the voltage where it's appropriate to drive the LEDs at the most efficient state. So in a sense, you're using a very simple boost supply, and you're getting the most efficiency out of it. So we have what we call 3 EOs, so we in a sense can drive 3 supplies and control this, have this type of performance. So in this example, this is where the EO begins to calibrate. It starts to drop the voltage and then finds the error, and then the EO steps it up, and then now you're back to 34. And then this does it dynamically. So as you reduce the current, the voltage is going to drop. As you increase the current, the voltage will increase. As you dim, the voltage will normally increase because the LEDs will start to cool down. As they cool down, the VF increases, so also the EO will adjust for that. So the idea is that we maintain regulation across all the strings, so to maintain efficiency. So this is another kind of how typically these devices are used. These are chainable, so you can have up to 16 ICs. So in this example, I'm showing a red LED connecting between string to string. So you can actually have up to 16 ICs, and you can do the same for the green supply. And the EO that you're not using, you simply ground it. So it's very simple to use, and it's a huge advantage, especially if you get into solid-state lighting where power efficiency is very important. Another thing that we also offer as a feature is thermal response. So you can actually graph the thermal response of your LED. You can set the thermal, which you want it to start to cool down the LEDs, and you can also actually emulate what the temperature will do. So typically, when the environment gets warmer, the LEDs get really warm as well, and then eventually you want to actually dim a little bit to let them cool, and this allows you to save the longevity of your LEDs. We also have fault management, which for example, for each string, you can actually monitor for open circuit as well as short circuit, and then your micro typically takes action. So depending on your application, then you'll decide what action to take. So just to finish off, all this feature sets are being ported into infrastructure lighting as well, and this is where the Atmel and our LED drivers start to merge. We're going to be seeing a lot of opportunities in the infrastructure lighting as well as interior lighting, and obviously the micro is really important because that's the control as well as the interface with the PHY, and architecture lighting, which is the same example that I showed earlier today. So I try to finish it on time, so I'm done.